Hey, good talk, everybody. Welcome to Daf Lamed in Yerushalmi Megillah. We're up to Halacha Gimel. Zok the Mishnah. Hey, Moichin basically this is a lot tonight, and this is we had referenced this the other day that you can only sell the Ela Tanai. So Amos Aishiyotzi through that whenever we want to get it back, we have the right to take back the Sefer Torah. The Rabbi Meir. This is Rabbi Meir's shita. However, the Chachamim say that no, the Chachamim say that Moichnois and Memkoil can sell it forever. Chutz me'abad dvarim, but it can't be except for four uses. Lamercha, it's a bathhouse, laborsiki, a tannery for leather, would work with hides, terrible, it smells, not covered, latfila for mikvah, labeis hamayim, for a bathroom, according to at least one pshat. Or cleaners. Okay. You don't Shem Chatzer v'lekech ma'ashiyatziyas. You can sell it even for a Chatzer, um, and uh, and whatever the buyer wants to do with it, they'll do with it. V'oid, Amar Rabbi Yehuda. Furthermore, Rabbi Yehuda says, "Beis Knesset Shechar im Espilon Toichai." A Knesset that's been destroyed cannot make hold a spade mit v'im Avshilon Toichai Chavolim. Can't store your packages in the vein personal Toichai Mitzudas. Can't spread nets out over the vein Shoitchen al Gaga Paris. You can spread out, use the roof to put Paris out to dry. V'noises Kapadri. You can't make it a shokash. Nemus Vashi Moisis make the Sheichem. Says, I will destroy you make the Sheichem, which is very interesting language. Kedushasan av kishen shoynimin. Even when they're desolate, they've been destroyed, it still has kedusha. Because it says vashimoisius mikdashechem. Not what was formerly mikdashechem. Says mikdashechem. It was in the present tense. All by asavim lo yitlosh. If it's weeds are growing out of it, don't you can't cut them down. Nefesh, because we want people to feel the pain and come back and rebuild it. Okay. So the Gemara, do that am a basic knesset shel yochid, a basic knesset shel rabim, afilui bonoi, afilu bonoi also. This that you said that a basic knesset that is destroyed, you can't hold a spade in. Mashma says that if it's functioning, you could hold a spade in it. But a base of this, so the Gemara clarifies that this is talking about over here, base knesh shel yachid, base knesh shel rabbim. You cannot hold a spade in at all. Am Rab Chia Baba, Rab Yochanan Mekel and Ashaya the Shatchem Bigdei in Alavira Be Medrasha. Rab Chia Baba actually says that Rab Yochanan is to curse the women who spread out their clothing, I guess, to dry in the base medrash. They would just spread them out. It's a design to use a besmedrash for such things. Shmuel says, if let's say you went in to daven, and then hey, say, oh, look at that, I can go out the other exit, and now I can end up on the other side of the street. It's a shortcut, no problem, you can do that. Tani, but the Knesset what the Midrash is roish. You cannot, you have to come and treat it with kavod roish, with seriousness. So therefore, lo yoichlin, he can't eat them, lo yishosin, can't drink in them, and lo metaylim behen, he can just take walks in them, lo yishenim, he can't sleep in them, lo nechnasim behen, lo bechampani masacham, lo biksham mesakshamim. You can't go in to either cool you off from the weather, protect you from the rain. I was shown v'doshim behen. You could go and learn, and you can hold the drushes in that. Rabbi Shua ben Levi Botekin sees about the midrashis lachacham and talmideihem that actually Botekin sees about the midrashis they belong to the chachamim and their talmidim. In other words, that talmid chacham somebody sitting and learning in shul, he's allowed to he wants to eat lunch, he doesn't want to waste time to go out and come back in. In the meantime, there'll be bittul Torah, so he's allowed to eat in shul. Rabbi Yosef B'Kablim B'Goy Knishta. They would, when they would get into a city, they used to hold their greeting. Everything they held it in the their People come and meet them, they would do it. They would park themselves basically in the shul and use the shul. Rab Imi Mafkid L'Sefraya, he would tell the Rabbeim, who were teachers, in Asa Banosh Gabchay Malachlach Baraisa, Tav Mekablei Ulechamroi Ulemonoi. If somebody comes in, he would tell the Rebbeim Pipashtis, usually the Saf refers to the Rebbe for the kids, and usually they would teach in the shul. So if somebody comes in and he sees Maluchluch B'Rais, and he can learn a little bit, that's good enough. You can allow him to stay in the shul and use over there, use it to park his car, Ulemonoi. And for his clothing, he can store there. And as he can use it for his personal usage, since he's a Talmud Chacham. Reb Brechia, or at least he learns a little bit. Reb Brechia is a Knishta the base Shan. Chami Socha Banash Mish Masik Yodei V'Ragloi Min Gorna. So Reb Brechia gets to the great synagogue of Beis Shan, and he sees a guy standing using the well. And he's washing his face and his hands, his feet from the well, the water well. Amalei Asulacha. So Reb Brechia tells the guy, it's awesome. The next day, what do you know? Chamtehu Gavra Mashzik Yod V'Ragloi Min Gorna. This guy, same guy, sees Rebrechia going and washing his hands and feet from the same well. Amalei, so he says to Rabbi L'cho Shavli Asa, how come for you it's mutter, for me it's asa? Amalei, he said, yeah, that's taka the case. It's for you it's asa, for me it's mutter. Amalei, lama, why? Amalei, Kena Rabbi Shua ben Levi, but taking this, about the Midrash, is a chum tamadeyim. Right, so I'm a Talmud Chacham, you're not, so therefore I could use my personal usage, you can't. Hain parvo, mao meva begavo. They would have there's this room, um, either a prosdor or some hallway to get into the basic Knesset, or if it was a room behind the shul, can you use it as a shortcut? So no problem. He used to walk through it as a shortcut. So ma must be the shari. It must be that he held that it's mutter. Reb Zechariah Chasani the Reb Levi. So Zechariah the son of Reb Levi Safra have a Actually, there's no raya. Chaim actually learns Madashari. Is this a raya that's mutter? And then this is the answer that actually it's not a raya that's mutter for the reason we're about to say. That is because actually what the reason Rabbi Vo went through it is because they had this Rabbi and he didn't want to dismiss. Uh, he didn't want to dismiss the kids on time. He would hold them overtime. So in order to get them out, Rebbe Vo would walk in to the this back room, I guess, where they were teaching, and when this Rebbe would see him, so it's the cover of Vo, he would dismiss the kids. So in order to get the kids out on time, Rebbe used to go there. But this is not a ride that by default, let's say, if stamazai that you can go and use as a shortcut. Rebbe had a purpose for going in. Okay. Halacha das mit dem Mishnah, Rosh Chodesh Shadosh Chalis B'Shabbos, for Chodesh comes out on Shabbos, Kohen B'Parsha Shkolim. So that's the week, that Shabbos, we read Parshas Shkolim. So there's Shkolim, Zocha, Parshas Parah, and a Chodesh. So the Gemara is going to discuss now over the next daf or two the schedule. So that first week we read Parshas Shkolim. So people should prepare. They know that hey, that Nisan's coming around the corner. We have to prepare to give the Shkolim so they can buy the kabbanis for the new year. Choli is b'terech Shabbos. If let's say Rosh Chodesh comes out during the week, Makdim in the Shabbos. Rosh Chodesh Adar comes out, let's say on a Tuesday. So then we read Parashat Shkolim the week before Rosh Chodesh Adar. Mafsikin l'Shabbos Acheres. There's nothing read the following week, and we'll see why. And the week after that is when we read Pasha Zachar, and then comes Purim afterwards. Okay, Rabbi Levi b'Shem Reb Shimon Lakish. Tov HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shahaman Rasha Osid Lishkol Kasboi Al Yisrael, Am Amutav Shiaktim Kasbon Shalbon El Kasboi Shalo Yisrael. Rasha Lefich Lev Makdim V'Konim Pasha Shkolim. So, why do we read Pasha Shkolim before? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew that Haman is going to come and give Peyach HaShverish off, bribe HaShverish in order to be able to kill the Yid. And he said, I figured, let my Shkolim come first, and therefore we read Pasha Shkolim before Purim. Cholias Be'erev Shabbos B'amir Kohen. What happens if Rosh Chodesh Adar falls out on Erev Shabbos? Does it have a din of during the week, in which case Shkolim comes the Shabbos before Rosh Chodesh, or do we say if Rosh Chodesh comes out on a Friday, so we read Shkolim that Shabbos? Okay, that's the Gemara's kasha. Reb Zura Amar Kom L'Shava. We read it the week before. There's no difference if Rosh Chodesh is on Friday or it's on Tuesday. It doesn't matter. You read Shkolim is read the week before. Rabbi Elo Ravo B'Shem Rabbi Yochanan Karin Laba. No, you read it in the coming week. But Reb Zura mistakel bei. Reb Zura was he looked at Rabila and he's gave him a look like this, not looking too good. I'm like, Mat mistakel bei. What do you mean? I know I'm in Shmua. I'm telling you, I'm quoting somebody. Rabila Revavo B'Shem Rabbi Yochanan. Giving you a source. In other words, maybe you're greater than me, but I'm giving you a source where I got my halacha from. So you're basically making a face at Rabbi Yochanan. But you're giving me your logic, right? Which is nice, but I'm quoting a source. I'm quoting Rabbi Yochanan. So why do you give me this dirty look? Actually, Masnita Messiah Ladena, Masnita Messiah Ladena. We can prove either case. Masnita Messiah Reb Zur, that it's read L'Shav, Ezi Shabbos Rishon Kol Shechol Rish Chodesh Shel Adar Lias B'Seicha. Which means I feel about Shabbos. Even about Shabbos, you see, even if it's on a Friday, as long as it's within that week, Sunday to Friday, then Shkolim will be read the preceding Shabbos before Rosh Chodesh. Tani Shmuel say Rabila, however, Ezi Shabbos Hashniya. What's the second Shabbos? Kol shechola Purim liyos b'soicha ba'afilu erev Shabbos. So the week that Purim falls in it, that's considered to be the second Shabbos, even if Purim falls on erev Shabbos. So Shabbos Shnia is Pasha Zachar. So if whenever Purim falls of that week, right? So we read Pasha Zacha the week before, right? You read it before Purim. So even if Purim falls on a Friday, you're still reading Pasha Zacha the week before. One second. So Kol, trying to get the cheshbon here. So then, Kol Shechol HaPurim Liyos B'Seicha is the second Shabbos. Right. So we said the first Shabbos you read Shkolm, the second one you're going to read Zachar. So now, so the if you read, I'll just read here from the Pnei Moshe. I think it's the simplest, most straightforward. Shavim Kain Karu B'Zachar B'Shabbos Shalafnei. So right now, so let's say Purim falls out on Friday. So the preceding Shabbos is when you're going to learn Pasha Zachar, right? And we're calling it Shnia L'Shabbos Rishona, Shalach Rosh Chodesh, Shekar Bashon. We're calling it the second Shabbos. If that's the second Shabbos, so it comes out that the first Shabbos was when it was the week of the if Rosh of when Rosh Chodesh Adar fell out on Friday, and we're calling it the second Shabbos. Now, if Rosh Chodesh Adar fell out on a Friday, and you're calling this the second Shabbos, right? So it must be that the first Shabbos was when? The first Shabbos was when they laned, the first Shabbos was after Rosh Chodesh Adar. So if Rosh Chodesh Adar fell on Friday, the following Shabbos, you read, right? You read Pasha Shkolim, right? Then you had 2 weeks till Purim, which came out on Friday, and the The Shabbos before that is when you read Pasha Zachar. However, so it has to be Lebo, like Rabbi Ela said, because if it's a Shava, it's actually the third week, because you've read, right, you've read Pasha Shkolim the week before Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh came out Friday. You read the Shabbos before that Friday, so now you have two Shabbos in the middle. So it's not the third Shabbos anymore, it's the fourth Shabbos after, I'm sorry, it's not the second Shabbos anymore, it's the third Shabbos after you read Shkolim. And yet here we're saying it's the second Shabbos. So, so that's right, Rabbi Ela. Again, what we're saying is just the, to sum it up. What we're saying is that Rabbi Ela said that Parshas Shkolim is read the Shabbos after Rosh Chodesh, when Rosh Chodesh falls on Friday. So Rosh Chodesh falls on Friday. The following Shabbos is when we read Shkolim, not the Shabbos before. And the right to that is because we see over here when Purim falls on Friday, which is Rosh Chodesh Adar falls on Friday, Yud Dal is also 2 weeks later is going to be also on Friday, and you read Pasha Zachar the week before. So if and we're saying it's the second week. Now it could only be the second week if you've read Shkolim after Rosh Chodesh, when Rosh Chodesh fell on a Friday. Otherwise, it's the third week. Okay, that's the Pnei Moshe's pshat. Now. Rav Nachman Yakaboy, Yagatzma Choshechal Chamisha Asalias B'Shabbos. So let's think for a second. Let's say the 15th falls out on Shabbos, which obviously if the 14th is on Friday, the 15th is going to be on Shabbos, which is Purim Makafas Chaima. So Likras Megillas Esther Einat Yachel. We don't lane Megillas Esther on Shabbos in the morning. She'ein Karm Kisvei Kodesh Elamin Mincha. We only read Kisvei Kodesh later in the afternoon, because in the morning they used to have shiurim, which contained halacha, and they felt that they'd rather focus on that than read in the ksuvim. So you didn't do it. The yikru. So if yikru zachar, so let them read Parsha Zachar. So this way you have some kind of semblance. Since you can't read the Megillah like we said, let's read Parsha Zachar, which makes sense. It talks about Amalek, wonderful Amalek, came to Rav. So he said to him, no, because Rav said, "Vayom el niskor v'nasim shetei askarosim kodem lasiyasa." The askara of Purim has to be before the asiyim. If you're going to read, right, you're going to read Pasha Zachar on Purim, so it means that the asiyah is before, it's backwards. The asiyah is before the zechira. Rabba Bray, so therefore you don't do that. Rabba Bray, the Repapi boy, Agatz Machashchala Basilias B'Shabbos. What about the 14th? Comes out on Shabbos. Hare Shekodmo Askarosan, again Lasiyasa. So Agatz Machashchala Basilias B'Shabbos. Hare Shekodmo Askarosan Lasiyasa. Amalei V'loik Fire Tasvis. The less Efsha. Didn't we already establish, all right? So in other words, again, he's asking the same question. So the 14th comes out, so you can't read Pasha Zocha, right? On the no, it's another reason why it has to be the Shabbos before. You're not reading Pasha Zocha that Shabbos. Now, even if Purim falls out on Shabbos, we don't read Pasha Zocha on that Shabbos. It's read the Shabbos before. So he says because. Right, so he says that because otherwise you have an issue because that the Zechira is Kohen the Asiyah. I'm sorry, the Faket that the Asiyah is Kohen the Zechira. Amalei, so he said to Loi Kvar Tosfos, that wasn't this already asked upon? No, it's this, right? The less efsha. We already know that the 14th cannot fall out on Shabbos. In other words, we'll specifically arrange the calendar to make sure the 14th goes on Shabbos. What are you asking this kasha for? I know it's not going to happen. So he says, Vim efsha, 'ichu hu la yorois. So he says because vim efshe. In other words, let's say we're mekadosh b're'iyah. So it's not like today where you have a fixed calendar, so we know already everything is planned, so that the 14th doesn't come out on Shabbos. Well, saying is vim efshe, but if it would be possible, because the mekadosh b're'iyah ichu hu yoris, so it would be a delay for the yoris to read right on Tezvav, right? So the way to the right, because the way it works is, according to the list of Pnei Moshe's Pshat, is that what happens is the Kriyas Megillah takes place before, right, when the 15th falls on Shabbos. So the Ayoris are makdim to read, the makdim to read the Megillah together with the Kfarim, B'Yom HaKnisa, which would be um, right, because they end up reading on Erev Shabbos. They end up reading Megillah on Erev Shabbos. Since they end up reading Megillah on Erev Shabbos, what's going to happen is your Parsha Zachar, right? If you read it that coming Shabbos, your Parsha Zachar will be after they already did Kriyas Megillah. They did everything ready. So therefore, to stay away from that, we're makdim it to the Shabbos before.